Hi everybody. Hey, on this video, I'm going to go over one of my client stories where she was a young girl that was just starting college and had attended a prior training of mine and then found herself in the unthinkable situation of somebody literally waking up on top of her trying to effect a rape, and how she was able to use the tool of violence to save her life, and why it's so important that women understand that they can protect themselves. It's not about being bigger, faster, and stronger. So I do a lot of different trainings. I get invited to do some amazing events. And one of the events that I got invited to do was a cruise. I had this cruise that I was invited by a very prominent group that literally rented the whole cruise line. And we did a Baltic cruise. We were going all around the Baltic in the summer. It was just amazing. We started out in Sweden and we ended up in Copenhagen, I think. We went all the way around through Russia. It was one of the most incredible cruises. And in that cruise, I was training self-protection during that time to a lot of the attendees. One of the things they asked me to do, it was a family event, and a lot of the dads were concerned about their young daughters that were about to go off to college. We had a lot of college age, high school seniors that were going off to college, and their dads all wanted to attend a self-defense seminar. Now, you can imagine the challenge of these young girls who are on this amazing European cruise, and their dads are saying, hey, I want you to come down and do a self-defense class on the cruise. What do they want to be doing? Well, they want to be at the pool, they want to be sunning, they want to be, going off to all the local, trips that they could do. But I was able to get them in for a couple of hours. Now, one of the girls that attended, she was actually a friend's daughter. And I hadn't met her before, but my friend, brought her. And it's so funny. If you ever saw the movie Legally Blonde, where Reese Witherspoon plays the Elle character, that was this girl. She was a complete California girl and, did not want to do this training at all. She wasn't kicking and screaming, but she was not happy that this was taken away from her pool time. But to her credit, she did the course. And she performed it fine. And again, we had probably about 20 dads and their daughters doing this training at that time. And, I really didn't think much of it. And so cruise finishes up, I go off and back into my life. About 3 years later, I'm in a New York seminar. I'm doing a seminar in New York. And it's the first day, everybody's checking in. And I see this girl, and she's got 3 of her sisters behind her. And she comes up to me, she goes, hey, I don't know if you remember me. My dad says hi, and oh, yeah, hey, how you doing? She goes, well, I brought my sisters, and I really want them to go through the training. I think it's really important. And I go, oh. And she goes, did Dad tell you what happened? And I was like, no, I didn't. Well, what happened? She said, well, I went to college, and she said, I had a dorm room. It was on the first floor of the dorm, and I was attacked. And I said, oh my God, I'm really sorry to hear that, but do you want to tell me about it? And she said, yeah, I do want to tell you about it. So apparently the backstory is this. The rapist had been watching for approximately a week, taking detailed notes about the ins and outs of who the easiest target would be. She and her roommate constantly left their window open on the first floor, and he noticed that the roommate, for probably 3 nights in a row, would consistently go and stay at her boyfriend's apartment, leaving this girl alone in the bed. So he picked them as the target. And sure enough, the girl goes off to go with her boyfriend. This girl goes to sleep, and she wakes up with a 230-pound guy on top of her, pressing her down into her bed. Now, she had one of those college beds where, you have the bed, and then below it is the desk, so it's a little bit higher up. They had hard floors too. They were hardwood floors in this in this particular dorm that she had. She said when the guy got on top of her, she realized the first thing that came to her mind. She goes, it was just like you guys were in my ear, meaning me and the instructors. She said, he's too far away. I have to wait. She knew that the position this guy was in, that she couldn't affect any sort of an injury. Now, this is a girl that had only a couple of hours of training. And yet the first thing that came to her mind was, I have to wait till he gets closer, because she knew, as we drill into everybody, when it comes to violence, that may be your one chance. So make sure you can get what you need. And she remembered that and came in. So sure enough, this guy was coming in, he was kind of holding her down. And the good thing about it was he had to try to move all the bed sheets and everything off of her to, get to her. As he was moving, his head came closer and she realized, oh, this is my opportunity. And she went up and she reached around, grabbed around on his neck, just clamped on as hard as she could, took her finger and she took her thumb and just went right into his eye, just grabbing and just jamming as hard as she could into this guy's eye. He, of course, pulled back, just violently trying to get away from it. He was screaming as she went into the eye, obviously, because it was just, she put everything she could into it. He lifted her up off the bed. She still held on to him during that time. As they went down, down to the floor, she shifted, and she didn't mean to do this, but her forearm came off, her hand came off the eye, and then her forearm slipped. And when they hit the floor, her forearm hit his throat, full force. She heard him just give a gurgling exhale, and his body released. At that point, he let her go, and she just got up and started running, screaming down the hall for help. Now, the interesting part about it was when they found him, when they came back and found him, he had asphyxiated and died. She had ended up crushing his throat at that point. This guy had a track record. He'd been assaulting women for just years. They'd been actually looking at him. He'd been going to various campuses and, doing 1 and 2 sexual assaults. This girl was able to survive this. She also only needed minimal counseling. And she credits that to the fact that we were very clear on how to use this information, that this information was only for life or death, only if you were devoid of choice. She checked all of those boxes. And the reason I want people to understand this, especially women, is there's an idea out there that you have to, if you're going to train self-protection, self-defense, you put it in the same categories like combat sports, like training for the UFC or something like that. And again, when you're training for destruction to protect yourself, those are very simple, straightforward skill sets. They don't require years and years of practice. Just an understanding of how the body responds to trauma. Now, if we had taken this 230-pound rapist and this young girl, I think she's about 105, 110 pounds soaking wet, and threw them in a ring together, we know how that would end up. She probably wouldn't do very well. But because this predator gave her an opportunity and she knew how to exploit it and she knew where to go with that effort, she was able to save her own life and probably countless other girls' lives from this guy continuing on doing what he's doing. So again, this is probably one of the most extreme reactions I've had in my civilian training, meaning, this is unfortunately something that she was able to survive. And, thank God she was able to bring her sisters in. But I share it with you today because this took minimal effort on her. It was more of an understanding of what to do. It didn't take years and years of training. I would employ everybody that if you are limiting yourself on learning any sort of self-defense because you think you have to be bigger, faster, stronger, and be an athletic, just prodigy, it's not the case at all. The simple skill sets of destruction can make a huge difference in your life. Check out some of the links below, get some good information from us, and get yourself trained. You never know when you're going to need it. Hey folks, listen, if you're enjoying the information that you're seeing here on the channel, please, number one, subscribe to the channel. That's huge. And then if you want more great information, we've got a lot of free information and just, great, ways for you to better protect yourself and your family. Go to surviveviolence.com, give me your email, and we'll get you that information right away.